YouTube, this is Soundslam. I've decided to start off some fanfiction readings of the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic series, and, well, because not a lot of the community is known for any of the stories that it's written or anything like that, and even those in the community don't know a lot of the stories, or if they do, they know the more well-known stuff. So anyway, I've decided to start off this with sort of Big Macintosh's Day Off. It's a romance fiction starring Big Macintosh and Fluttershy. If you have anything against shipping between those characters, you might want to go away now. So, without any further ado, let's start. Chapter 1. It was a hot day for mid-spring, and with the hum of bees hard at work pollinating the apple blossoms, it was hard to stay awake. Big Macintosh yawned. A strand of hay in his mouth was quivering with the passing air. The peace and the quiet was helped by the fact that he was alone in the farm today. Applejack and Granny Smith were out at the market, and Apple Bloom was off with the Crusaders. Letting out a satisfied "yup," he sat out in the front porch. A pitcher of apple tea and a farmer's almanac sat on the table by his side. Today he could afford to relax for once. He shut his eyes, letting the drone wash over him. "Excuse me, I'm sorry. Are you awake? I can come back later." The farm pony opened up one eye to see a certain yellow Pegasus hovering nervously in front of him. "Good morning, Fluttershy." The filly jumped at the reply, but she didn't retreat. She put her hood on the ground and looked down embarrassed. "Good morning, Big Macintosh. Applejack asked me to come check with you on something. If it's not too much trouble." Big Mac would have sighed if he wasn't sure Fluttershy would have thought it was directed towards her. "Dang it, AJ," he thought. "The one day I've had off in a dog's age is gone." "Won't know if it's too much trouble until you ask," he finally said. Fluttershy flushed in embarrassment, which Big Mac would have to admit was as cute as a newborn piglet, and twice as pink. "Well, I used all my apples that I had saved for all the newborn bunnies. They really liked my applesauce, and not all of them got some." Big Mac couldn't help but grin at the sheepish pony before him. "So, you need some of ours for another batch?" Fluttershy nodded, blushing deeper. "I can pay for it, if you want, Big Macintosh." Big Mac shook his head. "It's too much. She must know that no pony is going to say no to such a cute face. No friend of my sister's going to pay for such a thing. You sit here and have some of this sweet tea, Sugar Cube, while I go and load up some of our best stock." Fluttershy blushed deeper, but gladly took the chance to sit as Big Macintosh went to the storeroom. He took a little while, trying to find the best sauce apples possible, and soon had a whole cart loaded. He even tossed in a jar of Granny Smith's spices. He looked it over and mentally chilled himself. The cart was overflowing with produce, and there's no way that the filly would have been able to carry this all on her own, and the hope of returning to his seat was lost as he hitched himself up. Walking back to the front, he was treated with the sight of Fluttershy snoozing, curled up with her nose under her wing. The image was so adorable, he couldn't help but leave her be. Still, the apples would go bad just sitting out in this heat, and it would be a hassle to unharness and reharness himself when she woke. And so he delivered the apples to her home, and that one rabbit, Angel or something, was letting him in to put them away. The hot morning had turned into a scorching noon when the last apple was put in place. Big Macintosh was about to leave when he noticed the rabbits gathering around. He gave a strained look back towards his home, his tea, and his peace. The look in the rabbit's eyes made it clear he wasn't going to be enjoying any of them anytime soon. With a sigh, he dragged out a big cast-iron cauldron that Fluttershy had used for all sorts of things. It should come as no surprise that Big Macintosh could cook applesauce just as well as Fluttershy. The bunnies were enthralled as he crushed the apples under hoof. Then, when the pot was nearly full with apple chunks, he filled it with water, sugar, honey, and cinnamon, and set the whole thing to boil. He made sure the chickens were fed, and he handled a few other chores for a while the apples had softened. About half an hour later, he took a masher to the mush and ladled the now completed sauce into several mixing bowls, so when the little ones could eat their fill. The stomach rumbling, Big Macintosh spooned himself a small bowl for it to go. As the sun was beginning to hide beyond the horizon, hitching himself back onto the cart, he set off. The lingering heat of the day, along with the effects of the stove's fire, quickly wore the tired colt down into a sweating mess. By the time he walked home, unharnessed himself, and put away the cart, he was sweating like he was trying to water an orchid by perspiration. Surprisingly, Fluttershy was still asleep on the shaded porch. Big Macintosh walked over to the near-full pitcher and gave a small laugh, which woke her without his knowing. He drank long and deep, putting down an empty pitcher. "Oh my, I'm sorry. If the storeroom was so hot, I shouldn't have asked you to go in there." Fluttershy was already flushed, but by the time he explained, he loaded up, saw her sleeping, delivered the apples, and came back. She was a pony-shaped red delicious. He let her have his bowl of applesauce, figuring so little would only have wheated his appetite anyway. He couldn't help but note how cute she was when she was enjoying something she thought was tasty. Of course, he was equally proud she was enjoying his cooking, but what she said when she finally spoke caught him off guard. "You thought I was too cute to wake?" For once, Big Macintosh was glad of his crimson fur. "Aw, shucks, I didn't mean anything." He stopped talking with Fluttershy and gave him a small peck in the cheek. "Thank you for everything. I have to go home now. I'm sure Angel is wondering where in Equestria I went off to. I can come keep you company the next time you're off, when you're left here alone, if that's what you want." Fluttershy took off, leaving a confused and faintly smiling stallion. Yup. So yeah, that was chapter 1. If you have any feedback or want me reading different stories sometime, leave it in the comment section below. So yeah, until next time, bye.